Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. Welcome back to the Operator Podcast. I'm your host, former Navy SEAL Robert J. O'Neill. This is episode 146, and I'm glad to have you with me. We took a week off. I will be taking days off here and there due to travel. This is the busiest time of year on the speaking circuit, which is a pretty good gig if you can get on it. If you have a story to tell people and how it relates to their company, you might be employable. People do like to hear. I don't go in and try to tell people how to do their jobs. What I like to do is tell them how we did our jobs, why we were good, and the traits that were good with us, and how to keep stuff simple, hopefully. And I give myself my own advice all the time. Don't always follow it. But how we were good and why, and then how it's applicable. And if you have a background or an interesting story and people want to hear it, you can help. You don't need to be a special operator or military. Anything that you do that can help people. Everything from navigating artificial intelligence to plumbing, can you plumb? I don't know. I can't plumb. I know a good plumber. That's the case in a lot of things too. That's like a delegation of authority too. You don't need to be a master of everything, but definitely know someone who does, like mechanics. I don't know how good my man skills are at a lot of things. As much as I would love to know about cars and be able to fix them, I really don't know a lot about them. I can do the essential man shit. Change the tire, change the oil, whatnot. I'm assuming if I took the time, which I don't really have a lot of, I could probably knock it out, because mechanics is cool and people that can do it are really cool too. Plus, just having the ability to tell people what's wrong with their stuff and fix it for them, I think is neat. I don't like the people who can fix stuff and then make shit up. Like if you blew a Johnson rod, I might know what that is if I'm logged in as one of those funky websites that you need to prove that you're not a robot or 18 and above, but I don't know if that exists in a car. But that's an operator. A mechanic is an operator. If a man or a woman, it's usually men, are out there changing your oil, fixing your car, keeping you running, that's an operator. That's why I call it the Operator Podcast. I've mentioned it before, but I feel like it needs to be mentioned again. I am a former special operator, and I want to give you my opinions as such. Now I do other stuff. My stuff as a special operator in the military, I stand behind for many, many reasons. One, I've always told the truth about my service in the military. I think it's important to do that. You don't need to remember the BS. So that's good. And I've never had a person in my team ever hurt in front of me. Maybe in training, a bump or a bruise, but I've never been awarded a Purple Heart. No one in my team has ever been awarded a Purple Heart. No one in my direct team. I will get into shady Purple Hearts later, not in this episode, because I'm in a good damn mood and I don't feel like doing that. But I think that over 400 combat missions, not getting a single guy hurt, not getting hurt myself or shot, I can stand behind that. So as a speaker, as a podcaster, I can give you my experience as an operator, but I want to hear your experiences too. It's called the Operator Podcast because I want to put stuff out and then hear from you. And I have been able to interact on our social media at the Operator Podcast, on Instagram especially. Not always me running social media there. We have RJO Apparel, the Operator Podcast, the Operator Collectibles, and I don't run them all. I do have a team. So if my team will do their best to answer you. At Mchooyah, Mchooyah, that's me running that. I don't always answer that. time constraints and whatnot, but I'd like to. But you're going to get answers usually from the Operator Podcast. Sometimes from me, mostly from my team, but my team makes me aware of it. I'm bringing this up because I want to get all points of view. I want to get all input. If I'm right or I'm wrong, I want to hear about it from other operators. That's the reason I call it the Operator Podcast. I've had D-bags out there say that it's because the special operators are talking and everyone else needs to shut the fuck up. Not sure where that came from. It's out there. You don't even need to go look for it because whatever. But just because someone says something about you doesn't make it true. Even though if they're really, really loud and redundant, it still doesn't make it true. Even though that is an attribute of the left, especially the politicians and a lot of the mainstream media. They keep telling you the same shit. A lot of people seem to believe it. I don't know if you know this, but the public school systems suck here. They're failing. Basically anything run by the government is failing. Free stuff, handouts, being told you're a victim is failing. If you raise someone telling them they're a victim and somebody else is the cause of your demise or whatever, or your current situation, especially if it happened hundreds of years ago, that's kind of on you. You shouldn't depend on the government for anything, but the government now is convincing people they should be dependent on them for everything. And man, I'm just opening up a can of worms here because that's a lot of the stuff that you see what is happening. But what I want to get back to the final point is I didn't call this the Operator Podcast. I didn't name my book The Operator just for conventional forces and police officers to shut the fuck up. That's not the case. It's because I think everyone's an operator and I would like to hear from you and I want to give you my thoughts. And unlike a lot of people, when I tell you my thoughts and I'm wrong, I will admit it. So fire away, mother scratchers. And we're going to get into more of that a little bit today. There's a couple examples. The left and the right. And again, I'm not too concerned with the left and the right. We're into the point now where we bring different measures of left and right into it. And you got the extreme left and the extreme right and all this bullshit. We're getting into a time that is good versus evil, which is that's some thin ice to skate on, especially with the blades as hot as they are right now. But you should be able to know the difference between right and wrong, and it doesn't matter if you're benefiting from it personally. That actually makes it worse. But there's good and there's evil, and it's out there right now. It's not the left or the right. But I'll give examples of it too. We've had shootings recently, and you know which ones they are. And there was just over the weekend, 2 former military guys, I think both Marines, shot up some places. One in North Carolina at a waterside restaurant, and one at a Mormon church up north, and both Marines. And it's a question of why. What's going on there? What's going on with all the shootings? What's going on with the mass shootings? And the left obviously instantly comes out with the guns. Guns aren't the problem. Evil's the problem. Bad intentions are the problem. It's the weapons that they have. We've seen knives. We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing knife fights and suicide bombings and, grenades in Europe. So don't worry, the suicide bombers are coming. They're coming to the United States as well. I think the Civil War is going to break out in the UK first. Maybe. I don't want it to, but it's probably coming. But you're seeing a rise in a lot of different stuff. And if people are benefiting from that, it's evil. But we're seeing stuff that we didn't necessarily see before. And what I think now, when we're dealing with radical Islam, that's not the case for some of the school shootings here. If the radical Muslims had access to machine guns, yeah, they're bad. I wish we could ban jihadis from having weapons. That'd be great. It's not going to happen. It'd be nice though. But that's one of the dipshit theories. Get rid of guns, it'll be fine. But again, it's not even going to be do we get rid of guns and do they storm up to your house in a bunch of Humvees? No, it's going to be what they're doing now, and you're seeing it in the UK. They're going to do it with dudes showing up that have very nice. They have probably proper grammar, especially some of them fucks in the UK. Have you heard those judges and some of the politicians in the UK with that holier than thou? I'm going to throw your gay lover out of the floor, out of the window of the castle because I've appointed Philip my high advisor. And he chucks him out. That high proper voice. Yeah, but they're communists. They're trying to do the one world government. Now without getting into it too much, the UK is proving if we did in the United States what they did in the UK, which with us would be get rid of the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, get rid of free speech, get rid of guns, you're going to go to prison for something you say on Facebook. So that is not freedom of speech. That's happening in the UK right now. And then, of course, with the invasion from every other country in the world is a big problem. And that's just, it's an issue. But we're seeing it, and it's getting closer to fruition. It's no longer the shout from the rooftops, I'm a crazy person. But what I was getting at here, a lot of the, I think 100% of mass shooters have been on some sort of antidepressant. Look that up for me as an operator, please. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not. Were these what kind of these two Marines that were shooting places up and killed people? Were they on antidepressants, and where'd they get them? My concern, and I could be off. I haven't researched it to the fullest extent, and based on when I'm making this podcast, it's not. You can't find it. But I'd like to find out what antidepressants the VA had those guys on, and I'd like to know what the antidepressants all the school shooters are. What kind of a lot of them were either transgender shooters or transgender associate or transgender what's the word, not compliant, but involved with transgender. What kind of hormone pills do they have these people on? What was Big Pharma giving them to make so they could make more money to make people go crazy? Is that a thing? A lot of people are shooting places up and they're on pills made by Big Pharma. And then again, like we always do, go back to what is Big Pharma doing? How many of the politicians that represent your district or your state, how many of them are sponsored by Big Pharma? To call them. Ask them about their funding, because if you're familiar with politics at all, or you've seen behind the curtain, which I have, who's funding your campaign and why? I'm going to fund your campaign to the max, but you need to be friendly to Big Pharma or whatever. Who is it? And then here's another one too, because we are in a semi-capitalist society. If you watch, I put the news on. I'll put it on the morning. I have certain morning shows I like on the radio, online, and then I have cable news and even sometimes the big networks. Taking notice of how many commercials, how many advertisements are from Big Pharma. How many Pfizer commercials do you see on CNN? If you watch CNN, flip over there and see. Watch how many of them. How many ads on the radio and on TV start with an illness that you've never heard of because they made it up, and then a cure that you need to buy from them so they can cure. Not only did they cause the problem, they solved the problem. Thank God. Sounds a lot like COVID, doesn't it? Huh? Power's a motherfucker. Remember Anthony Fauci? There were people getting tattoos and fucking Christmas ornaments of Fauci. Don't get it. But I'd like to find out about Big Pharma, and then I would also like to ask these politicians, how many of these veterans that kill themselves or shoot up places have done Ibogaine? 0. Why is Ibogaine still illegal in this country? It's really not that hard. I'm happy to grab your sweet little hand and walk you through it. It's illegal because then someone won't be making a shit ton of money and keeping a shit ton of power because they produce pills and make up illnesses and then invent the vaccines for you to take. COVID was invented. And then how many billionaires did we make for not just the COVID vaccine, but for the booster and the follow-on vaccines and for the craziness that a lot of these news organizations have made people completely bonkers about masks and about vaccines, and Stephen fucking Colbert dancing with goddamn dancing syringes. Vaccine. Da 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 da. You should have been fired and your show should be off the show. That's how it should have rhymed, but it didn't. What's going on here? Why is alternative medicine not at the forefront? We have Marines killing people. Were they crazy? Maybe. It sounds like it. Was it the gun's fault? No. I could take a belt-fed machine gun, put it in this room, load it, put it on fire, and sit it there. And if nobody came in here, it wouldn't fire. I would bet for at least 1,000 years. Well, that's true. You need bad intent, not the bullshit they're feeding you. Who's feeding it to you? Well, the school systems, the public schools, the universities, Hollywood, and the media. And what do they all love? What do they all have in common, man? 2 things. Well, a lot more than 2, but 2 things are very apparent. Climate change and vaccines, Big Pharma, medicine. And guess what? It's all for your own good. Because there's no way that the government and people in power would do anything except for your good, for the good of their constituents. There are people out there that don't even know who their congressman is. and they're probably the loudest dudes, ladies and gentlemen, out there. But I mean, that's just a lot of stuff to consider. Who's getting paid, and why are they getting paid, and who's paying them? And then why are people blasting each other? Because I think they're crazy. Some of them are evil, but why are they evil? I mean, did the devil come in everyone's closet at 3 a.m? Or are they popping a bunch of pills? It'd be interesting to find out how many pills people are popping and why they're doing it. So we're going to get into a little bit of that today. I do need to talk about the sponsor of this show, Stopbox. I mention them pretty much every week because it's very, very important because, I mean, especially now, you've got to own something to protect your family. Doesn't necessarily need to be lethal. I recommend having a handgun, a shotgun, and a rifle in your house, especially if you can. But owning a handgun for self-defense comes with serious responsibility. Even though, like I just said, you could lay them out, they're not just going to go off, but someone can grab them. So you need them to be secure and accessible, especially when it matters most. But too often, that the matter of accessibility means choosing between locking it away or leaving it out. And then you've got guests, you got kids, in my case, or intruders, man. Don't let an intruder grab your gun. You better be quicker with your other 5 guns on the way to it. But that's the problem Stopbox USA set out to solve, and they nailed it with Stopbox Pro. It's 100% mechanical, keyless, it's battery-free, and it gives you instant controlled access to your firearm. There's no electronics. You don't need to be fumbling with keys. There's really no codes required. It's just a patented 5-button locking system that responds only to your unique input. So it's fast, intuitive, built for muscle memory, so you're not thinking and you're just responding. I don't even like to say reacting. You're responding. I have a problem. I'm dealing with it. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And when seconds matter the most, this can make all the difference. With Stopbox Pro, you don't have to trade safety for speed or for peace of mind for readiness. Your firearm stays secure and it's within reach. Never worry about tariffs because everything is made right here in the USA. All Stopbox products proudly made here. Not only does it ensure high-quality craftsmanship of every product sent out, it creates meaningful jobs right here in your home country. And you can travel with peace of mind because every Stopbox Pro is TSA compliant. You can bring it with you. It also offers a range of innovative products, vehicle safe, chamber lock, essential gear designed to keep you prepared and protected wherever you are. So for a limited time, the listeners of the Operator Podcast get 15% off at Stopbox when you use code THEOPERATOR at checkout. So you need to go to, write this down, stopboxusa.com. 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 Use code THEOPERATOR for 15% off your entire order. So go to stopboxusa.com, think of the Operator, and also when they ask how you found them, tell them the Operator sent you. Here's something I want to discuss too. Is it just me? Or is customer service everywhere taking a dump? Now, I want to initially place the blame on myself, because I'm almost half of a century old, halfway to 100. Not almost, but it's coming. Like I'm halfway to 100, like 6 months away, something like that. And it seems to me like a lot of people either don't care or they don't care. I don't think a lot of it's malicious. I think a lot of it's laziness. I was doing the math because I have a long history with a Marriott, and I stay there. I'm not almost, but a few days short of 4 years of my life in Marriott hotels, and I was disappointed. I like the loyalty program. I like staying in Marriott. I really do. But man, just this last hotel, I don't want to name it yet because I do want to hear back from them. But boy, it was a college town, and college had just gone back, and a lot of the employees were college kids. So it could just be, hey, I'm new to the job, I don't really know. But I mean, the customer service is gone. It was at this hotel, and I've seen it in other places too. Simple things like I stayed 3 nights in a hotel, and I called the front desk for a number of reasons, and every single time, 100% of the time, busy signal. Couldn't call the front desk. I went down, I valeted a rental car, and I went down twice, and both times the valet guy was on break. Now, nothing wrong with a break. Why aren't there 2 valet guys? Have you noticed at CVS, the last 2 I've been to, the entire goddamn pharmacy takes a lunch break together. And I don't know what your schedule is, and I don't know if you know how how much fun it is to go to a pharmacy. I would put it on par with DMV. Getting a new license and getting your prescription. Getting a new license is worse, obviously, because that's completely government run. I mean, you're going to start to see a pattern of shit that's run by the government sucks. It sucks. But so does a lot of the customer service in the private sector. Why does everyone need to take a break at the same time? And again, if you can explain it to me at the Operator Podcast, I'll listen. If I'm wrong, great. You need a break. I'm all about morale. But why are all the valet guys on break? And then I had to go find my car myself. Didn't know where they parked it. It's in a valet spot. That was one example. I was trying to get my Bonvoy number in, and it almost seemed like they weren't paying attention when I gave it to them. I had two rooms, and as of today, still no credit for it because I specifically said, hey, here's my number. I said it because I memorized it because I have an easy number, but I'm not going to tell you what it is unless you want to get me some free shit. Yeah, they didn't write it down. I'm like, okay, so both rooms are good with the points. I love points. I rarely use them, but I love getting points. Points are good. But yeah, you got it. Nothing else you need? No, didn't do it. They had that wasn't their fault. Obviously a fire alarm. The only time I could put my daughter down for a nap. That's not their fault. They didn't have an explanation. Probably not their fault. Going to the restaurant too it's almost dumbfounding. I was almost dumbfounded. Just the look of loss in people's. For my second room, my first room I had was for me for 3 nights, me and my daughter and my wife. The second one was for family members, and I went down to get it, and I said, hey, I need to get another room. Do you have vacancy? Yes. Okay, good. Do you have 2 queens? Yes. I'd like to get them. Oh, we can't do that. Why not? Because there's an event in town. The event turned out to be a triathlon, whatever. Not sure why that matters. So I'm going to go talk to my manager, who was probably a grad student. Went to talk to the manager, came back. The manager said, no, can't do it. There's an event in town. What event? The triathlon. Oh. So we can't, there's vacancy, can't, but no, we can't. System won't let us. Cool. So I went upstairs and I booked it on Marriott.com. Came back downstairs. That's when I asked them to put my number in, my Bonvoy number for sure, to check. They checked. Wasn't there. It was online, wasn't there with them. The jury is still out. There was a wedding there. I went, I was driving back from an event in my rental car. There was 4 buses, maybe 5 buses, like the party buses, not a school bus, but you've seen them. They're cool. Party buses are great. If you can go on to a party on a bus, do it. But they're blocking not only the entire front of the hotel, so you can't even drive in. You can't get to the part where you can sort of park to check in. You can't get in the parking lot because these buses are blocking the entire entry. And so I went into the same said manager and said, hey, if you move those buses 15 feet to the right, your paying customers could get in. And he said, uh-huh. We told them to. And I said, yeah, but they're not. You didn't. Yeah, but we told them. Yeah, but they're not there. And then, again, the look of dumbfounded. So the guy's on break. They don't know the numbers. They can't do. It's almost like, does Mr. Marriott, who owns all of these, is he JW Marriott or whatever, would he be upset that I'm trying to give you thousands of dollars and you just won't do it? Is it laziness or is it incompetence? It's one of the two, probably. Have you noticed, though? And you know what else is upsetting? I fly a lot. Does it seem like the gate agents and the flight attendants are a little bit militant nowadays? Like they know they have power? They know you can take off, they can make you take off the Make America Great Again hat, or they can kick you off, they can call police. They do know they can do that. Militant. I'm seeing that. I don't fly Delta Airlines anymore, and I won't ever again. It sucks. But I do fly American, I fly United, and I'm starting to see a pattern in customer service. It's a disturbing trend. I was yesterday flying. I'm flying again today. I asked if I could I wanted to gate check a bag. Gate check. Because I have a stroller, because my daughter can walk, but I like to stroll her through airports. Even though my wife does most of the work. Most of the I'm a jerk is how it came out, which is probably true. My wife does most of the work, but a stroller is nice. So I'm checking the stroller so I can have it at the gate. And so I also checked my carry-on because when I travel with my wife and my daughter, I like to have the bulkhead seats. And the bulkhead, if you're in the Navy, is a wall. And the bulkhead seat in an airplane is the wall right in front of you. So the bulkhead, I like that one because then I have that wall. The babe can't run that way. We kind of got her in there. But you can't put any of your carry-ons underneath the chair in front of you because there are no chairs in front of you. And by the way, if you have a bulkhead, don't shove it back under your seat. Genius. Because there's someone sitting behind you. Don't take up their leg space with your shit. The point I'm making is you got to put that in the overhead. I didn't want to put my wheeling carry-on, so I checked the stroller and I checked the carry-on, both gate checked, meaning I check them at the gate and then I should get them at the gate. Well, we got the stroller at the gate, and then my carry-on was sent to baggage claim. For me, baggage claim's a lot of issues. One, it's a pain in the dick because you got to wait a while. Two, for me, it's security. There's going to be another attack, by the way. It's not going to be on the plane. And it's not, the attack not being on the plane is not because those fucking Mensa members at TSA are stopping it. They've never stopped a single attack, by the way. They made us take off our shoes 20 years after dumbass Richard Reed couldn't figure out how to light himself on fire. It's because they're not going to do it. They're going to hit you at baggage claim. They're going to hit the line. Like, what, dude? You can still get the same effect at airports by blowing up everyone in line to get to TSA. But you can get them at baggage claim. Bunch of people. I'm not trying to give you ideas, but for fuck's sake, they're going to switch it up. So I don't want to be at baggage claim. So I gate check the stroller, gate check the bag. They give me the stroller. Oh, you can get your bag at baggage claim. It's like, well, I gate checked it for that reason. Even one of the dudes was a first officer, probably a military dude, a pilot. No answer. Not that he needed to have the fucking answer. Someone should have an answer. No. Just, no. Am I crazy is what I'm getting at. Please answer me. Do this one at Makuya. I swear I'm going to look. Or if you go to the Operator Podcast, at the Operator Podcast, tell that person in a DM that I specifically said to talk to Rob about this. And yes, he's fucking ornery, and that's it. They're not lazy. Or, yes, customer service is getting worse. I mean, if given a choice, which I have, I went to McDonald's this weekend in North Carolina, and I love McDonald's. Love. I am a huge fan of a quarter pounder with cheese. I love a Big Mac too. Love the McChicken sandwich with cheese. I used to work at McDonald's in my teens. To this day, the best job I've ever had. But I remember walking into McDonald's and I had a choice. I was the only one there. Yeah, I will roll McDonald's by myself, go say some shit. I love McDonald's. Dipping the fries in the barbecue sauce. If you take, you should probably do this going home unless you can get them to give you a side of cheese, which you can. When I worked at McDonald's, we'd get a side of cheese. We would put a piece of cheese in a little blue hamburger wrapper and then give them cheese. But if you wrap a chicken, and by the way, far be it from me to give you health advice. I will give you delicious advice. Wrap one of the chicken nuggets in half a piece of cheese, American cheese, and either dip it in straight honey or barbecue sauce. Booyah. Yeah, it's not going to it's not going to increase your squat, but you're going to be happy for the next 5 seconds of your life. Anyway, the point I was making is I went into McDonald's, and I had, as the only person in there, I had a choice. There were 2 people working the counter, and there were 4 fucking robots. I went to the robot because I don't think the robot will get the order right. What the people do with it from then until now, it's up to them. It's going to be human error. I will say stuff to flight attendants. They have tough jobs. Now, when I talk TSA and I talk to flight attendants, also I consider, because I'm a big believer in putting myself in other people's shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. They do deal with us every day. And I'll tell you someone who's a hell of a lot more annoying than TSA, it's the goddamn traveler. The people traveling in transit are annoying. You know, and I know, because we've all dealt with each other in transit, we suck too. So I don't want to give them too hard of a time. And when I say militant flight attendants, by the way, pretty much 100% of the guys have been cool because they're gay dudes. And let's be honest, gay dudes are just fucking fabulous to deal with. I love it when I get a male flight attendant. That's going to be a great trip. No offense, ladies. If I have a choice again, robot, counter worker, I'm taking the robot. Gay dude, female, I'm taking a gay dude for flights. But be nice to the flight attendants. Again, I do know I have flight attendants I know that follow me on social media. Love you guys, and I do love most of you anyway. But for some reason I'm being militant right now. But I don't talk shit to people handling my food. Flight attendants, yes, they do, but I don't talk shit to them. If I do, it'll be leaving the plane when I can still scurry my fat little ass up the jet bridge as slowly as I can, because like I said, I'm pushing 50. But don't talk shit to the people working, especially at fast food. But when I ordered from the robot at McDonald's and they brought me the new quarter pounder, the deluxe, like it's made like a Whopper, not, much love and respect to the Whopper. Love it. Burger King can't match the Big Mac. McDonald's can't really match the Whopper, but the deluxe is awesome. It was so good, even though I don't mess with fast food employees. Someone spit in my burger wouldn't have cared if it was that good. But given a choice, I'm taking the robot. What are you going to do? I'd rather deal with the robot. I'd rather deal with checking in on my phone than dealing with the person behind the counter, because I want to check into my room, get a king-size bed. I don't give a fuck what the view is. On that process to get to my king-size bed facing a brick wall, I don't want to lose faith in humanity, which is where I'm at. So tell me, am I wrong? Are we losing customer service? And if so, why? Tell me that, please. I want to take a second to talk about our sponsor of the show, Ridge Wallet, because I mention them pretty much every week, and I travel so much, it's important to have it. If you're watching right now, check it out how thin this is. If you can't see me right now and you're listening, picture a really kick-ass light, thin wallet. You can carry 1 to 12 cards in this thing. I've got 5 in there right now to include an ID. It's got cash on there too. It's streamlined. You can climb a caving ladder with this. Go check out ridge.com. Check out their wallets. But right now what they've just come out with is a power bank that I love, a magnetic power bank. You know how annoying it is to be traveling anywhere, even a day trip, and you got like 5 different cords. Everything's different for your Kindle, your watch, your phone, whatever. They're all different, and honestly, it should be illegal. We have robots. I just saw it on a college campus delivering food, but we can't figure out how to get 5 cords from point A to point B. Well, Ridge has come up with a wireless magnetic 5-in-1 travel bank. I got it right here with my thin little phone. You got your all your cords on there. You got a little stand-up doohickey so you can put it on your plane if you can't see it. Imagine putting your phone on your table in front of you and watching movies. You got your little connectors that come out of here. You can connect it to 5 different things, different times. This thing can charge your phone 3 full times. With 20 watts of power, it charges it as fast as possible. 3 of those in one. You don't need to find a club or a place to plug it in the airport just to get to 20%. So you can, get to your next destination with a little bit of a charged phone. This will charge it up a couple different times, like I mentioned. And it's got, get a load of this, 10,000. I love how it says MAH capacity, which is a bunch of power. But it's MagSafe compatible wireless charging. You can keep it magnetically attached to the back of your phone, back of whatever you need to charge in your bag, and it's charging right there. I've been on planes a bunch where the damn charger doesn't even work, but this won't have the problem with that. And the newest iPhone just dropped, so make sure to pair it with this power bank and never have an issue. Like everything Ridge makes also, it's built to last. Free shipping, 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty. This is the last power bank that you'll ever need. And they look badass too. They come in a bunch of different colors. I went with black, but they got base camp orange, matte olive. Olive drab is the color that you're looking for. That's like the greens that the Army used to use. A design that doesn't scream, I bought this at the airport. It means you did a little bit of due diligence. You got something nice. They come with an LED charge status. You can tell where it's at all the time. And like I said, the kickstand, so you can watch all the movies that you need to. Go check out their site too, because you can get MLB, you can get pro sports stuff. I saw the Pac-Man one on there, the wallet. Thinking about that bad boy. But one thing to pack is this adapter, this charger. 5 ways to power with this one thing. You can find Ridge Power Bank at Best Buy, or to our listeners, you can get 10% off at ridge.com, RIDGE.com, by using code THEOPERATOR at checkout. Ridge.com, use code THEOPERATOR, and you are going to be all set. After your purchase, Ridge is going to ask you how you found them. Tell them the operator sent you. So go to ridge.com, use code THEOPERATOR for a big discount. Well, enough of the heart wrench, because it's October 1st, which means we've got 3 total months left of this year, 2025. That means that time is just, is it because I'm getting older, I'm getting more disgruntled, and time seems like it's flying, or are you feeling the same thing? Because like it's October 1st, which is nuts. That's fast. September's over. Back in the day, I mean, we didn't have as many distractions when I was your age, or however old you are. But like if you grew up like me in the 80s and 90s, like it just seemed like boredom was a thing. I don't think people get bored anymore. Maybe they'll say they're bored, but it's not real boredom where there's nothing to do. But October 1st, wow. Let's look at some days in history, shall we? What happened on the 1st? Well, in 1867, your best friend and mine, Karl Marx, released the first volume of Das Kapital, which is the foundational text in the fields of political economy and social theory. And you'll notice, too, that's always coming around, too. The socialists are always trying to... They sound awesome. Like, if it worked, it would be awesome. Socialism would be great. I wouldn't work as hard. You wouldn't work as hard. The problem is, when you get that, no one works as hard because there's no incentive. But Das Kapital offered a comprehensive critique of the capitalist system, because I need Karl Marx critiquing that, analyzing its mechanisms, its contradictions, and its impacts on society. Marx's work has profoundly influenced economic thought, political motives. Hell yeah, it has political motives, and academic discourse, making it essential reading for understanding the dynamics of capitalism and its implications. And that's okay. It's nothing wrong with reading other people's work, reading history. And when you have a debate, it should be with people from different sides of the debate, but not always. But yeah, you should read this stuff to see if they're right or wrong. I mean, like, again, it sounds good, but in theory, it's bad. But Das Kapital, the first one came out on October 1st. This is divided into 3 volumes. And it revealing the underlying laws of capitalism. Basically, it's going to tell you capitalism bad, socialism good. The key concepts of Das Kapital: commodity fetishism. This is from my notes. Fetishism, which is cool. Karl Marx explored how social relations between individuals are expressed through commodities. Commodities. So, like in a capitalist society, commodities acquire a mysterious value independent of their size, obscuring the exploitation of labor behind their market value. What he's saying is, I think, and I could be wrong, is that stuff's not as valuable as we make it, but man makes it more valuable because it gives them power and money too, which I guess goes into a lot of my theories when I say that power and money is what is behind pretty much everything. It's like the whole diamond thing. Like, diamonds aren't rare, but the cartels make them rare, so we spend more on them, and then they get into labor. So the labor theory of value, Karl Marx was talking about. He quoted famous economists like David Ricardo and Adam Smith, asserting that the value of a commodity is determined by the socially necessary labor time required for its production, i.e. time is money. And this theory underpins his critique of surplus value and the exploitation of the workers. Even though he never had a job, his dad was actually, Karl Marx's dad was actually an economist, professor, and he really disliked his son. I got to look up that letter he wrote his son because it's very eloquent. Basically, not so many words. It tells his son he's a moron. He's kind of taken away from the family's name, but it turns out he became more famous than his dad for being whatever you want to call him. But another theory of it was a surplus value and exploitation again, and more of the theme was surplus value, the difference between the value produced by the labor and the wages paid to the laborers. Karl Marx argued that the capitalists extract surplus value, which is the source of profit and the root of exploitation. So he's not a profit guy, and it kind of comes forth with right now with you'll hear the left always bashing billionaires. Are they really affecting you that much other than creating jobs? Maybe. I mean, what are the billionaires doing that bother you other than you being the people that hate them, just you want to get rid of them? I've met billionaires, and they're definitely a different breed. And they probably don't have the same interest that you do, but getting rid of the billionaires, I don't know. You tell me, man. What is it going to do? And Karl Marx analyzed how capital tends to concentrate in fewer hands. So you're getting into distribution of wealth because too much money in certain places leads to monopolies. And hey, we got those too. I mean, I think you got to take into consideration convenience. Like, a lot of people out there hate Jeff Bezos, but they'd rather order their new colored pencils from Amazon and get them that day than actually have to get off their lazy ass and go buy them. So convenience, you're going to pay for it. Someone's going to take advantage of that. That's why capitalism works. But when they're talking about monopolizing the inequalities and all that shit, it fuels the expansion of capitalism, but it also shows the contradictions. And there's a crisis theory where Marx discusses the cyclical crisis of overproduction, falling profits, and unemployment, which are inherent to the capitalist system due to its internal contradictions of capitalism, as opposed to the straightforward of socialism and communism, because socialism leads to communism, which leads to fascism, and you should know the difference. I've described it before. I don't feel like getting into it again, but for some reason, in the early forms, the socialists seem to get with the jihadis because they've got common interests as far as, just playing the victim and then yelling racism or Islamophobia. They get to a point where one takes over and then executes the useful idiots. And we're there with useful idiots again, too. They're the ones that what was that in one of the Batmans, the one where he showed up and that dude had a cell phone in his belly and they're all surrounding him because someone put a cell phone in his belly and he said it would get rid of the pain and the madness and the noise and turn into big, brilliant colors, and they're all staring at it and they all blow up. That's what a useful idiot is, and those are the dummies around him. That's kind of what happened. Bane, what Tom Hardy, anything with Tom Hardy, and it's awesome. He played Bane, which is just fantastic. But getting back to the conclusion of this, Karl Marx, Das Kapital remains a seminal critique of capitalism. Everything he talks about is critiquing capitalism. It's the best of the worst. It's what we got right now. If people don't have set them to work, they're not doing it for the greater good. I don't know how many times we need to bring up toilet paper. Prime example, toilet paper and masks. Because you need them, we can't have them. But this stuff with Karl Marx resonates today. We see it all over college campuses. See it in academia, see it on the news, whatever. And it's going to bash capitalism. Anyway, October 1st, the first volume, Das Kapital, was put out. Here's another good one, though. This is cool. T.E. Lawrence and the capture of Damascus. That's in Syria. Back in the day, this is called World War I. And if you don't know T.E. Lawrence, he's famously known as Lawrence of Arabia. And this is in the Middle Eastern theater. There was a war in the Middle East. Again, take your time with this. Again, complex alliances and strategic military campaigns. Who's going to get rich? Why are we doing it? What history do we need to replace so I can stay in power type shit? But among the most, I guess, iconic figures was Thomas Edward Lawrence, Lawrence of Arabia. His involvement in the Arab revolt against the Ottoman Empire culminated in the pivotal capture of Damascus in October of 1918. Damascus is the capital of Syria right now. This is back in 1918, so stuff does change, as we know. But it was a significant, it signified a major military victory, also symbolized the rise of Arab aspirations for independence. So, we'll look into it a little bit. There's a strategic role of Lawrence of Arabia in there. The Arab revolt, it actually began in 1816. Sorry, began in 1916, the 1800s, Karl Marx. But in 1916, World War II, fueled by Arab nationalist aspirations and the resentment against, the Ottoman rule. The British, seeking to weaken the Ottoman Empire, supported Arab leaders. Lawrence of Arabia. Sharif Hussein ibn Ali was one of the leaders of the Arab world, and they sent it to Lawrence was a British intel officer. Deep cultural understanding of the Arab world, and I love that about him. He has a deep understanding because a lot of the places that we went to war, we didn't quite understand it. Not everything's the same. Not everybody wants democracy. Not everybody a regime change with people when you're toppling a dictator. How are the people going to act? We didn't bother. I'm thinking of Iraq right now, which is also in the Middle East, where there has been a number of conflicts. But Lawrence of Arabia, he had knowledge of the tribes. They're more tribal. Even in some parts, they're more tribal than they are religious. And so it usually goes tribe, religion, and money. Sometimes it goes religion, tribes, money. But money's in there, too, because that brings power. But this guy knew what he was doing, and so he rolled in there and aimed at disrupting the Ottoman control of key territories in and around Damascus. And, that's all in Syria. The capture of Damascus was a symbolic culmination of the Arab revolt and a significant blow to the Ottoman authority. His involvement, Lawrence of Arabia's involvement in the campaign was multifaceted. He served as a liaison between the British military authorities, the British intel, and Arab leaders, and he helped organize guerrilla tactics. Special forces shit. Go in there, teach the guys. Also, though, as we found, you can arm them out of a place like Libya. We'll make up a city like Benghazi where you arm, Al-Qaeda and have them take over Syria. And then you invite a dude to speak at the United Nations, the UN, which he just did. And side by side with a picture of him holding up 2 human heads. Arab culture, shit like that. They were making enemies of our friends and friends of our enemies. People all became richer for the experience. But in 1918, the Allies advanced into Ottoman-held Syria. Lawrence of Arabia played a crucial role in planning and executing military operations involving guerrilla warfare, sabotage, coordinated attacks, and Lawrence of Arabia's strategic insight was instrumental in exploiting the vulnerabilities and of the Ottoman Empire and rallying up the Arab forces, which, if done, can lead to some serious fighting. But the decisive moment came in October 1918 when Arab forces supported by British troops launched an all-out assault on Damascus, October 1st. And the Ottoman garrison, exhausted and demoralized, surrendered basically without significant resistance. If you can get to the morale, get people wanting to surrender, it's going to happen. That's what T.E. Lawrence did. His leadership, strategic planning helped ensure the success of the operation, which was achieved with relatively minimal violence. You can tell I've written evaluations and fitness reports before because you always do that stuff. When you start to see words like the words and phrases like that, consummate leadership and all that shit, you're right. You're a good writer. But Lawrence of Arabia's strategic leadership was instrumental. I'm reading one of my own fit rips right here. In the capture of Damascus, it marked a milestone of military victory and symbolism, an assertion of Arab independence. They're trying to get rid of the Brits, get the Brits out because the Brits are screwing everything up, and they're still holding on to that Brit guilt that we'll get into in a minute. Brits are really mad at themselves. They're not mad at themselves. The whole soft times create soft men type stuff. Right now, everyone's sad about what happened in the past, even though they had nothing to do with it. They're still apologizing, and you're going to see some effects. You're seeing it all over the place too, being taken advantage of by the powers that be. But yeah, the Brits, the Arabs, independence, Syria, Lawrence of Arabia, they kicked some ass on October 1st in the First World War. Actually, this is a little trivia you might not know. During World War I, they didn't call it World War I. They just called it the Great War. Because if they called it World War I, they would assume there's going to be a World War II. Is there going to be a World War III, or is there already a World War III? Because we're not going to be fighting it. I think historically, because we would see futuristic type stuff. Like, I don't know, drones and pagers exploding and maybe, I don't know, lapel bombs, which is interesting. Just saying. But also in a bit like a cooler event too, October 1st, it's 1975, so this is less than a year before I was born, was the Thrilla in Manila. That's just cool, man. That's two of the best boxers of all time. Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali are going to fight in the Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City, Philippines. Quezon. If anyone's from the Philippines, speak Tagalog. Is it Tagalog? How do you say that? But Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali fought, and it showcased like these two were just ahead of their time. The athleticism, the determination, themes of perseverance, rivalry, cultural significance. And Thrilla in Manila just sounds badass, doesn't it? So Muhammad Ali, we all know who he was. Charisma, footwork, brilliance, just could fuck people up, not to get all technical. But by this time in 1975, he had achieved legendary status. He defeated Sonny Liston. He beat George Foreman. And then Joe Frazier, he was constantly pressuring dudes. Powerful left hook. This guy was a legit, always loved a good left hook. If you can get a good solid wedding ring on your left hand and keep that left hook in mind, that's a good one for you. But they were rivals and had testified over the years, and this is their third and final encounter. The first two fights, one was in 1971, one was in 1974, had already caused a rivalry, and the Manila fight was characterized by just beating the shit out of each other. Like just brutal stamina, brutal strength, strategic battles. And both of them got the crap beat out of each other, and they're just showing their longevity. It's pretty cool. Ali suffered a swollen eye, and Frazier was just battered and exhausted. But at the end, Muhammad Ali won when Joe Frazier's trainer, Eddie Futch, stopped the fight after the 14th round, fearing Frazier's health was at risk. And Muhammad Ali declared the fight the closest thing to dying he had ever experienced. Joe Frazier said famously, "I thought the referee was going to stop the fight, and I was going to die in the ring." How awesome is that? Listen to those two dudes. Muhammad Ali said that's as close as you've ever been to dying, and Joe Frazier said, yeah, he was going to stop the fight, and then I was just going to die. That's just kick-ass. But it exemplifies the endurance and the will to win. I mean, It's almost like insurmountable odds against both fighters, and they're both doing it. No one's crying and whining. They're fighting almost to the death. And I don't like the sports analogies all the time with saying, well, you're going to war and get ready for war. This is about as, I think boxing and MMA are as close as you can get to war, because you're going in there and you're throwing it all out there and getting to that level, man. The heavyweight fighters, pro boxers, of any, I don't mean to just say heavyweights, but pro boxers, pro fighters, pro UFC dudes, man, you got to figure that's like the culmination of life work. Imagine working your whole life for something like that and then fighting to the death. It's just insanity. Well, it even brings up too the transgender thing right now, because imagine being a female swimmer, working your life 4 a.m, swim lessons before school, swimming at lunch, swimming after school, and they have some dude show up and beat you. Some dude dressed as a girl just won a cycling event in Oregon. Imagine that, by like 6 minutes. But there's no advantage. Anyway, I'm not getting into that crap. But the legacy of the Thrilla in Manila, just it's one of the most famous events in sporting history. Probably the greatest, is definitely one of the greatest matches ever fought. And it's been immortalized. Like, you should know, if you're a fighting fan, you know all about that. You know all about Joe Frazier. You know all about Muhammad Ali. You know all about the Thrilla in Manila. But just a cool rivalry right there. And there's some political stuff involved with that too. Why they're fighting over there. Muhammad Ali didn't want to fight in Vietnam War. When I was a young man too, I was pissed about that. If you're a fighter, you should fight. But then looking at the Vietnam War, would I have fought in the Vietnam War? Me? Yeah. Would 50-year-old me have fought in the Vietnam War? I'm just going to say no, because, well, I would have been 50. A little old to be fighting. But just a historic event. It just the competition that's there, the fair competition. Just a testament to human determination, the power of the rivalry. It's pretty badass. That was all on the October 1st. This day in history. I like to have fun with that too. I like you to know your history before you're doomed to repeat it, because we're seeing stuff come out now. Like I mentioned before, with the healthcare stuff, the big pharma stuff, you don't know who's telling you the truth, the vaccines and the autism that's linked to it, which it seems like it is. Not a doctor, not a lawyer, so you can't yell at me. You're going to. I get yelled at a lot. But know your history, because now the rage is the digital ID. And this is, hey, you listen closely. This is for your own good. This is for your safety. So was the Patriot Act. Everything the government does is for your safety. And if they keep you afraid, which they're doing through a lot of different outlets, the shadow government's doing it, the deep state's doing it, One World Order, the UN's doing it, social media, the media, making you afraid. Can you think about the last time we weren't at war or at the threat of war? I mean, when I joined the Navy, I was thinking, I remember picking SEAL Team 2 because I got to get on the East Coast, because the only fight happening is going to be in Bosnia, which wasn't really fighting. It was more peacekeeping for us. It was whatever those folks do to each other when Big Brother USA doesn't show up, because Lord knows you wouldn't be fine without us. But yeah, I remember thinking there is no war, so I'm going to go to SEAL Team 2, maybe get to Bosnia, did want to get to Kosovo. There's not going to be a war on the horizon. Then 9/11 happened. Man, I hate the internet. Because the 9/11 just keeps coming up, and the next thing you know, we're just in 20-year wars. But that's when was the last time you didn't feel like we're at war, or you didn't feel unsafe? Because the government introduces stuff. Right now, it's the digital ID. Switzerland and Australia just voted it in. Good job. And of course, by good job, I mean terrible fucking job. What are you thinking? And then the Brits are doing it, and they're saying, well, we just have too many illegals here, so everyone needs to get an ID. Okay, and if you're dumb enough to believe that, I don't know why they let you vote. And anyway, I've said this a number of occasions. If voting even mattered, they wouldn't let us do it. But there's a mandatory proof of insurance in the UK, right? That proves that you could be there legally. But we need a new, and what's his nuts? Keir Stammer. Keir, I don't know your last name. I don't really care. You're just a douche. But they're saying too many illegals, so we're going to make everyone get ID. And if you don't get it, you can't work. This is the government. They'll create a problem and then they fix the problem. That's Switzerland and Australia just did that. And if you have this, you will get access to healthcare insurance, and you will get to know your healthcare providers, and it will prove how good they are with a rap sheet on them, and it will track you so you know what you're getting. And there will be, what else comes with being tracked? Oh, centralized bank data. The government can monitor. So you're going to need this to open your bank accounts. You're going to need this as a food producer, so the government can know your inventory, and as a consumer, so they can know what you're buying, so you can help the inventory. You will need this to travel, kind of like the Real ID in the United States. You will need this to work in a foreign country. You need to have your digital ID. You'll need it to shop, because it protects your online identity. Getting a digital ID will protect your online identity. So you can vote. You can have this too. I wonder if we get, if and when, because it's coming to the United States, if and when, are we going to have we're going to be able to count the votes in a day again, like we did in the fucking 1800s, the early 1800s? Can we get all the votes counted in one day, or we got to make sure we find a couple extras here and there so Democrats can win? Not a lot of Republicans win on the last minute count, do they? It's weird. And I'm not a Republican. Just saying I like to point out stuff. If you get a digital ID, however, you can collect your benefits when your family members die, or so the government can tax you when your family members die. So you can own devices so they can monitor you. That's what it's for. This is for traffic. It can tell you the traffic. Your GPS never sends you in the wrong direction, does it? It's for air quality, because fuck it, climate change. Let's just throw that everywhere. Oh, it's going to be so helpful in every aspect of your life. No, it's not. This is ridiculous. This is Big Brother, man. A digital ID is, I mean, this is as close as we've ever been to the mark of the beast. I don't give a shit if you believe that or whatever. It seems like every day something is coming closer to that, but this is going to help you. So it's going to be your digital ID, so you can do everything from buying food to selling food to voting, and then it's going to be your currency. There's a lot of digital currency out there too, so they're going to help you spend. It's going to control. It's going to keep a budget for you. Or if you don't suck up to the DEI narrative and the far left, maybe they just won't let you buy anything. Maybe they'll just turn you off. It's like when they come for your guns. They're not going to take them. They're going to mark you as non-compliant, and then you can't buy anything. This is Big Brother, but don't worry. The government has your best interest in mind, right? And most importantly, it will stop illegal immigration. That's what they're selling it as. So you can be very excited about your digital ID and stopping illegal immigration. But I'm here to tell you this. If you secure the place where you live, like your borders, and protect your house, and stop relying on the government, then you're never out of the fight.